On May 21, at Huawei's Shenzhen headquarters, Huawei CEO Ren Zhengfei was interviewed by Chinese Central Television and other media, responding to the hotspots of the market. He said, "The US 90-day temporary license doesn't make much sense to us. We are ready. But we are very grateful to the American companies, they have made a lot of contributions to us. Many of our consultants are from American companies such as IBM. You could curse American politicians, but not a matter for American companies. Actually, we were controlled by American entities 1 year ago. The current practice of American politicians underestimates our strength. Huawei's 5G is definitely not affected. In terms of 5G technology, others will definitely not be able to catch up with us in 2 or 3 years. 5G capacity is 20 times of 4G capacity, speed 10,000 times of 2G, power consumption is reduced by 10 times, and volume is reduced by 70%. We have materials that will not corrode for decades, which are very suitable for Europe. We have very close communication with European. The German chip manufacturer, Infineon Technologies, did not stop their supplying to Huawei. During Chinese Spring Festival, we estimated the US limitation would occur 2 years later. However, when the Mengwanzhou incident occurred, we thought that, this time was ahead of schedule. We were working overtime during the Spring Festival. 5,000 employees including security guards, cleaners, service personnel, were rushing to prepare our backup plan. Ren Zhengfei said there are 2 kinds of sentiments to Huawei. One is that the patriotism supports Huawei, and the other is that Huawei has kidnapped the patriotic sentiment of the whole society. He said his children do not love Huawei but Apple. They are still using Apple's mobile phone and computer. Apple's ecology is very good. I can't narrowly think that loving Huawei must use Huawei mobile phones. Ren Zhengfei said, Huawei Mobile CEO Yu Chengdong always asked me to do more propaganda work for Huawei brand. I stop them from shouting slogans. I don't want to incite national emotions to advertise. The reporter asked, there are a lot of book writing Huawei management in the market. Do you think Huawei has management secrets? Ren Zhengfei replied, in fact, Huawei has no philosophy. I personally don't study philosophy. I think that all Huawei philosophy is customer-centric, and it creates value for customers. We can also do the same chip as the US chip, but it does not mean that we will not buy it from the US. We will not easily narrowly exclude US chips. We must grow together. But if there is supply difficulties, we must back up ourselves. In the past, we use half of the US chips and half from Huawei. We bought at least 50 million sets of Qualcomm chips before, we never resisted Qualcomm. The operating system Huawei will do and can do, but it is not necessarily a substitute for others. At present, we are indeed affected by US limitation, but it can also stimulate China to develop the electronics industry in a down-to-earth manner. The past policy is to invest money, but it is not possible to rely on money only. We need mathematicians and physicists. And it is impossible for Huawei to rely on one country only, we still need to find talents all over the world. American technology is still worth learning. Many small companies are super technical. Huawei at the forefront of our 5G technology now, but for the whole country, we have a big gap with the United States. We have to learn the cutting-edge technology from others, not only learning theory. We sacrificed individuals and families. It is for our ideal. In order to stand on the high point of the world, for this ideal, there will be conflicts with the United States sooner or later, but in the end we must work together to contribute to mankind. When the reporter asked how long this difficult period will last, Ren Zhengfei replied, you may have to ask Donald Trump on this question, can't ask me. He also said that in Huawei the most important department for Huawei is CNBG, Operator Business Unit, because it is to dominate the world. The position of his silicon chip unit is subsidiary 1, along with the strategic brigade. Huawei should take China as the center and base on Eastern Europe to break through the United States. It is very difficult for our national physicists, chemists, to rely solely on their own innovation. We must learn from the advantages of other countries.